the universe wants you to do something special that only you can do. The universe wants you to be someone only you can be. Consider there is a song only you can sing and a poem only you can write. Or simply, maybe, if you do what you love, you will love what you do.
Welcome, everyone, to the heart of the revolution. It is with deep joy that we are together today in one mountain, many paths. Our mission is what Barbara Marx Hubbard and Dr. Mark Goffney call a planetary awakening in love through unique self symphonies. We are activating a new humanity and awakening as a new species. Homo, Amor, the fulfillment of Homo sapiens. As a church, a synagogue, a mosque, a temple, a zendo, no one is excluded. Everyone is included. And we come together to attune to the evolutionary impulse, awakening within us. Welcome home, everyone. I am Christina Tehel, the co-executive producer, along with Jamie Long, Jacqueline Clark, and Krista Josepha, and we are all so delighted to be together with each and every one of you for our 409th Global Evolutionary Gathering. Wow. What a true and deep and profound privilege it is to work for and hold all of life's flourishing. On Zoom and on Facebook, say hello. Let us know where you're from in the chat box. And on Zoom, do check that your chat settings say everyone so that we can all hear from you. Once we all say hello, we use the chat box for resonating the Dharma. What to expect from today. First, my announcements, then I'll give a recap from last week's teachings, and then Terry Nelson will be joining us today to set our intention, and then Jamie Long will resonate the evolutionary love code, and then Terry Nelson will step us into the evolutionary sense making, and then we will move ever deeper into prayer with David Aton, and to close, Krista Josepha will invite us deeper into community. And at the end, we will bring everyone on for our goodbyes and a short dance practice. Dr. Goffney won't be with us today because he is working deep in the Great Library. Announcement. Dr. Mark Goffney and Dr. Zachary Stein decided, as many of you know, but hopefully there's some new people here today, to re-envision the upcoming Parallax course, which is on Saturdays in all of September. And I highly recommend that you check out this course. It is a big deal. And it takes place, like I said, on the Saturdays in September at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 5:30 p.m. Central European Time. The new name of the course is Value is Real: Why Saying This May Save Our Civilization and Our Souls. Mark and Zach will engage participants in a series of dialogues at the edges of human knowledge, where there is a dance between the languages of science and the sacred, and between the lineages of ancient wisdom and our living memory of the future. The course is focused on the David J. Temple book, First Principles and First Values, which you can order the audio on Amazon, or you can order the paperback on Amazon, and you can also add your symphony, add your voice into the symphony of this revolution by writing a review for First Principles and First Values book on the Amazon website. Thank you for that. Next announcement, Eros Mystery School, our annual in-person gathering is, and mark your calendars right now if you haven't already, April 28th through May 2nd, 2025. This is a holy gathering. Please do join us. It is a life-changing, holy, transformative event. And for more information, you can go to the website Eros, E-R-O-S, mysteryschool.com. And that link is also in the chat box now. I welcome all who are new. If this is your first time, these teachings do stand on their own, and every week does build on the previous week's teachings. We encourage you to explore our YouTube, our Medium, and Substack platforms, and read or listen to our books in the Great Library. And if we could put those Medium or Substack links in the chat box as well, that would be fabulous. And so you will hear unique language today, and trust the magic ways the Dharma comes through your understanding. One Mountain, Many Paths is radically committed to telling the new universe story. So now for my recapitulation from last week's first August symphony, Embodying First Principles and First Values with Krista Josepha and myself, Christina Tahel. Reality is asking us a question. Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready to participate in the evolution of love? Last week, we explored how, by realizing and sharing when we are in a mystical space, we can up-level our own consciousness and hold more. How the spaces we occupy here together is intimate. Even though we are virtual, we are connected and we are global, in that we truly care about each other. Some connections are very deep. Some of us are madly in love with each other, and it gets every day deeper and deeper. And the mystical qualities get deeper and deeper, and everyone is invited into these spaces. We recognize that the absence of value at the heart of culture is a new phenomenon. Never before has a civilization held at its core a basic skepticism toward value. We, in the West at least, are living in a time where life is meaningless, quote unquote, has become a dominant narrative. But common sense, sacred axioms affirm that spirit is real, that there is a Godhead, ground, Brahma, void, which is the unmanifest principle of all manifestations, and that it is possible for the human being to love, to be loved, to know, to be known, and to become identical with the ground of being itself. We're here to witness and affirm that we are divine, that our loving matters, that it matters to all of reality, that it matters to the mystery, to God, to the ground of reality. This recognition is crucial because the collapse of value at the center of culture contributes to the meta crisis and existential risks we all face. Choice matters, and our choice, choosing the mystical, choosing the interconnectivity, choosing to pay attention and to honor and to build and to grow our love, that there are better and worse choices, that our lives, all lives matter, that love matters and is meaningful, and that it is good to be alive and to love. Cosmos desires what it values. The human being participates in that cosmic desire. Cosmic desire is evident in the trajectory of evolution, which yearns for more consciousness. The more complex the life form, the more conscious it is. Finally, A self-aware planetary human is more conscious than an ordinary human who goes about life asleep to their true nature and true situation. This awareness is central to our role in the universe. We might say that when felt from the inside, evolution yearns for more consciousness. Reflecting on this journey, value evolves. Our consciousness is powerful, and we are constantly evolving our consciousness and contributing to the whole by holding the whole in our prayers, in our visioning, in our desires, in our relationships, in our free will, in our capacity to love more, and in the ways we live our lives. Let's take it from that love that was able to structure it all, and let's feel the love, the allurement at the center and source of the multi-billion years from the Big Bang. This love has guided the entire process of creation, from the force that is so exquisitely designed to the evolution of life and consciousness. We are evolution become conscious of itself. This recognition allows us to participate fully in the evolution of love, taking our place as co-creators in the ongoing process of creation. This is how we embody first principles and first values. Now, I invite us to more deeply enter into the holy and sacred spaces of one mountain, many paths, and I turn my word to you, Terry Nelson.
And thank you, Christina, and again, terrific. This morning in our pre-meeting, I noted that we were, as Christina said, at 409 One Mountains, 409 sessions. And I shared with them, I remember 8 years ago, before this existed, sitting in my living room, Mill Valley, California, with Mark and Sally Kempton and Barbara Marks Hubbard, talking about, should we do this? You know, we were referring to it as church then, and we don't want to do church. Nobody wants to listen to church. This will be a distraction from our work. And you know, we had serious discussions, and there were pluses and minuses, and we finally decided to do it. And today, I'm so glad that was our decision, because One Mountain, through its evolution and its iterations, has truly become a powerful force for increasing value in the world, for increasing goodness, truth, and beauty. And it's an honor for me to be, in some small way, you know, I get to participate and serve this process. So thank you, team. You're doing great. Okay. My big brother, Warren, died at age 78 of Parkinson's this year. And in June, before our Vermont board meeting, I woke up to that I was feeling, especially since Warren passed, I was feeling down, tired, gray, anxious, stuck, valueless, and not fun. I guess you call that depression. I guess I was suffering from the awareness that I had more life really behind me than ahead of me. And I was just down. So I called my therapist friend, Joanne, and said, Joanne, we got to talk. She said, okay, go. I began by telling her how much I missed Warren and how disoriented I felt that he was gone. My big brother was gone. And then, sort of like a dam bursting, I told her how ashamed I felt, because I used to be able to go 24/7. And now when my Energizer Bunny wife says, let's go camping, all I want to do is to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I told her how physically vulnerable I felt. I'd always fully trusted my body to take care of me. Like when I got malaria 3 times in the Peace Corps, I wasn't worried. I knew my body would be just fine. It would do its job. Now I've got type 2 diabetes. I take a daily witch's brew of medicine. My shoulder has a torn rotator cuff. I don't play basketball anymore, and I can't do the backstroke. I don't feel like my body has my back like it used to. I told her how I'm now doubting my role, my identity, if you will, of being manly protector of my family. After all, my job has always been, when the chips are down, I got it. Whatever is the problem, I can fix it if I just simply work hard enough. Now, I'm not so sure about that. I told her how I no longer do the trainings I used to do for LifeSpring. I guess I probably don't have the energy to do the 40 or 50 hours of that workshop. I feel like I'm not, or I felt like I'm not creating much value in the world. I mean, for 40 years, I'd walk in front of groups of a couple hundred people and say, okay, let's start. The LifeSpring trainings are an opportunity to uncover and redesign the underlying assumptions out of which you live your life, such that you experience a profound shift in your ability to relate to yourself and others, empowering you to engage your heartfelt commitments with freedom and passion. And after that announcement, it was let's go full out, full in for 40 or 50 hours. And I loved doing it. I gave it my all. Now, I'm not so sure I'm that guy anymore. Now, not so infrequently, I'm stupid with senior moments. Recently at dinner, I told my friends about my crazy nephew, Ben. And what I said was, Ben drove his house into his car. And I didn't know why they laughed after that statement. And I guess I want to say, Joe Biden, buddy, I get the problem. I'm with you. With Betsy, my wife, we're doing more parallel play than connection, and so on and on. It was a shock for me really to think I really do have more life behind me than ahead of me. After a while, Joanne says, okay, I got it. You are grieving, not just grieving a little, you're grieving on steroids. You're not just grieving for your brother, but for your own youth, for your manly identity, for the 30-year-old body that you had when you were 30, and your mind, and for the difference in value you created as you contributed your unique gift as a trainer for thousands of people, for your manly certainty of being able to protect and take care of Betsy. And she said, in our society, we don't value age much. We don't value certainly wise elders. There's no place for it. And you know, you at your age of now 77 qualify to be a wise elder, but you're not sure where to go or what to do with that. So I'd say your challenge is to accept and appreciate where you are now, and that it is okay, not a failure, to go to bed at 8 o'clock. It's okay to grieve too. You're in a different place in your life. Now, at that moment, I felt totally known and seen. My shoulders relaxed. I felt a ton lighter. I thanked her gratefully and said goodbye. But as I said goodbye, she goes, wait. She yelled, wait. Have you shared this all with Betsy? And I said, what? No, I don't want her to know any of this. Joanne laughed and said, well, she knows and is probably grieving for all that too. You know, the man she married, you're not the same guy. You're a good guy, but you're not that guy. And she's probably mad at you for not talking. Okay. Next morning, I said to Betsy early on, could we talk for a few minutes? So we crawled back into bed for a few minutes. It wasn't a few minutes, it was a few hours. And after a few hours of sharing that, our relationship and I was lighter, brighter, more connected, intimacy at a deeper level in our relationship. Gratitude replaced my mourning. So, in a funny way, Warren, thanks for that opening. Thanks for that opening. Now, as an aside, my wife broke her wrist last Wednesday when she fell off her horse. We did surgery on Friday, but for the last week or so, I'm still being manly protector because this is like a plug for me. I ain't that old, sort of. Denial goes down difficultly. So I've been tying her shoes and buttoning her buttons. And, it takes two hands to do a jar with the top on it. I've been doing all of that for her. So I'm still there for her. Now, I shared this story with a few people at the Vermont meeting there in June. And after the board meeting, I was scheduled to fly to Wisconsin, to the little town where I grew up, 3,000 people between Madison and Milwaukee. To give you a flavor of the town, I had the same fifth grade teacher my mom had. Think about that. Now that I was the family elder, Mark pointed out to me that I had an opportunity to create some deeper contact and greater wholeness with my family. As he said, to relegare my family. So, in a second, after the code, we'll go back to that family gathering in Wisconsin. Okay, Jamie, the within which that I'm going to proceed after the code.
Thank you, Terry. And today is my great pleasure to resonate the code that was originally originated by Barbara Marx Hubbard and has been held by David Cicerci. And today is a special day. We received some news today from Bob Rudy, and we are holding you, our beloved Becca Gardner is ill, and we hold her and we dedicate this code to this Dharma, which Becca loved so much and dedicated. And for me personally, it's been my partner on Wednesdays as we prepare outrageous love cafes together. So Becca, we are with you and we are praying for you today. This week's evolutionary love code. Eros equals the experience of radical aliveness, desiring ever deeper contact and ever greater wholeness. Intimacy equals shared identity in the context of relative otherness, times mutuality of recognition, times mutuality of pathos, times mutuality of purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Now, picture this. Rows of white chairs set up outside on a hill in a large open park overlooking a lake, with the town that I grew up in across the lake on the other side. See my family and friends, from my brother and sisters to their kids, gray hair to diapers, sitting in the chairs, waiting Warren's service to begin. Probably about 50 people. We've already done the Frisbees and the potluck. So I now invite you, my One Mountain family, I guess, to join my Wisconsin family in this service. Imagine you were there and know you are welcome. And as the newly minted elder of the family, I step to the front and begin. And I remember when I was walking to the front and looking at this gray hair at the diapers, including my kids who are grown and off and adults now, thinking like this line from Fiddler on the Roof that Tevyev had as he looked at his grown daughters. I remember thinking, I don't remember growing older. When did they? So I addressed them. Welcome all. We're here to celebrate Warren, brother, husband, dad, uncle, grandpa, friend, to celebrate a life well lived. Those of us who knew Warren loved him. Those of you who didn't, especially our diaper brigade, you would have loved him. To begin, I want to point out the within which we are all here, the within which that holds all of us here in this family. First, Grandma Belva, as she's known to most of you, my mom. Mom to Warren, me, Allison, Andy, and Scott, the five of us. And please know that all five of us still feel like we won the mom lottery with our mom. Some of you don't know this, but mom was an OB/GYN nurse, a baby nurse. For many years, she was there to welcome and hold all the just-borns to life. She was there in the delivery room when they arrived. For you Harry Potter fans, you know that his mom's love protected him from Voldemort. I think my mom's love protected all of them, all of those newborns forever, as it surely does for us still today. And for those of you who are familiar with attachment theory, I think there should be a chapter on my mom. Now, and I've shared this, I think, before, when mom died a few years ago at age 95, I was in a grocery store parking lot in Bend, Oregon, on the morning that Allison called to tell me mom had died. And as many of you know, its coming is never the same as it's here. I just sat and sobbed in the car before driving home, filled with sadness and grief for my mom. Early that afternoon, I went for a walk in the woods, feeling sad, and all of a sudden, it switched. I was filled with overwhelming joy. Like my body was like just full of joy. And I was confused. And then I felt like I should look around and make sure nobody noticed how much joy I was feeling, because my mom just died and you're not supposed to be feeling joyful. But there I was, filled with joy. And it was joy about my mom's life. And then this radiant figure appears before me. And it's my mom, not at age 95, but at about 35. And I say, Mom, is it you? And she says with a big laugh and a huge smile, of course. What did you think? Of course. What did you think? And of course, even to this day, I'm going, well, of course, what did I think? And that was, as far as I can tell, a real experience for me. Then, for mom's and dad's 55th wedding anniversary, all of the five of us kids had a task to share at the celebration about how mom and dad lived in us, really how their values lived in us. For mom, it was love, care, kindness, acceptance. For dad, it was integrity, honesty, loyalty, and your word matters. Those values are present in this gathering. For you in-laws, I suggest that these values are what allured you, what loved you into this family. For friends, the same allurement. For the diaper crew, you will grow up surrounded by these values. So, Voldemort, beware. It was for my whole family, as I spoke those words, a powerful yes moment as we all looked around at each other. Now, before I move to Warren, I want to say, Mom, in case you're listening, in that last fight that Warren and I had, where we knocked over the refrigerator, Warren started it. Let's be clear about that. Okay, now to Warren. Loving, kind, honest, smart, hardworking. 2 years older than me, we were a dynamic team. For example, one of Warren's talents was he was a great cat dropper. Yeah, that's what I said, a cat dropper. So whenever we needed to rescue our cat from a tree, Warren would climb up in the tree, and I, but brave and dumb as a doorknob, would catch the cat that he dropped. You got to picture that, because it usually landed on my head. Now, Warren, in high school, quarterback and captain of the football team, class president, valedictorian, got a bachelor's and a master's degree in mechanical engineering, MBA from Harvard Business School. Then he worked for a big engineering company. I was out of the country for then several years in the Peace Corps. And when I came back, stodgy engineer Warren was doing multi-level marketing, selling vitamin pills and skin lotion, and had a downline of 10,000 people. What happened? This is not what they, or to be honest, Dad, said Warren should do. Now, please all listen, because this is the story of a hero. While you listen, consider that the universe wants you to do something special that only you can do. The universe wants you to be someone only you can be. Consider there is a song only you can sing and a poem only you can write. Or simply, maybe, if you do what you love, you will love what you do. Somehow Warren figured out that he was not an engineer, but a people-loving person. Not a mechanic, but a lover. And he wasn't really selling vitamin pills. I mean, he did that, but what he was doing was loving and developing people. He wanted his downline to win and be successful. He loved helping them to be successful, and they loved him as he did it. If you will, he was a context of care, integrity, and love. And of course, he still worked his ass off. He risked all to change the course of his life. He courageously acted from his heart and chose, surrendered to his unique self, and to give his unique gifts. Some people never do that. I encourage you all to do it. It is a heroic act. And as Leanne Womack sings in her song, if you get a chance to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Warren chose to dance. Then along came Parkinson's, diagnosed about the same time we started One Mountain. Parkinson's is tough. You don't get better. You can't control your own body. Even if your mind is as sharp as it ever was, which Warren's always was, you lose your talking ability. Swallowing becomes a challenge. You got to pee through a tube into a bag. Dignity is a challenge. Friends drift away because it is uncomfortable for them to understand you. Warren never whined or complained. Even as Warren diminished physically, he fought every day to live as much life as he could. He wanted to live. He wanted life. He did laps around the kitchen island with his walker. He did voice exercises daily. He did these tiny barbells in his chair. I must say, all the way to the end, even when you could barely understand Warren, I understood him clearly when he said, I love you. I love you. And he did, and I got it. Later on in the process, with his main caregiver son, Matt, Warren and I and Matt talked to him about pulling the plug. Or when would he think his life was no longer worth living? What would it be? He said, well, if it gets to a point where you have to feed me through a tube, I think that's it. If you have to feed me through a tube in my stomach, I think that's it. A few months after that conversation, he had to go into the hospital for something else. And they put a stomach in his tube, tube in his stomach to feed him. Matt and I thought this was it. However, Warren came home happy as a clam. He says, this is great. I can eat without worrying about choking anymore. I don't have to worry about choking anymore. And he was happy, and he says, I'm still in the game. Some months after that, back to the hospital with pneumonia. And anybody who knows about Parkinson's, pneumonia is a bad thing. So after a while, he was breathing on a respirator, eating through the tube. And finally he said, enough, take me home. And I could still hear him croak, I love you. As Matt held up his phone, I was in California, or Oregon, he was in Texas. And he's lying there in bed, all wired up, phone to his ear. I'm talking to him. I told him I loved him. And he's got his thumb up like this, holding his thumbs up. And he croaks, I love you. And I got it. Took him home, and the next day he died. So I miss you, big brother. It mattered that you lived. I fully feel your absence. Now, Betsy has a friend, Fred, who himself had several near-death experiences. And we were talking about death, and Fred says, I'm not afraid of death. He says, the way I think it is there's this door that I will pass through. And on the other side of the door are all my friends who have gone before. And I'll be overjoyed to see them, and they'll be so happy to be with me. So this death thing doesn't scare me. In some ways, I kind of look forward to seeing all those people. Now, that's not the most sophisticated after-death description, but I kind of like that picture. And I do hope that Warren is somewhere being held and loved by all those people who have gone before. So with that, I turn one mountain over to David for prayer.
Thank you so much, Terry. Wow, I'm feeling my heart just quiver. You know, when we face aging, sickness, and death, it shakes us up, right? All of us, no matter how old or how young or how healthy we are, it reminds us, and it reminds me of how fragile and vulnerable we are, and ultimately how dependent we are on something mysteriously beyond us. And so that's at this point where we move into prayer, right? And at One Mountain, we choose to pray. And in this preparation, this meditation to enter prayer, we actually invoke this capacity to connect with that mystery that's beyond us, that mystery that's holding us, the mystery that invites us closer in every moment, that's closer than our own nose is to our cheek, as it said, that breathes with us as we breathe, right? And so, you know, each of us has our own unique connection to that mystery, And in one mountain, we stand for that mystery as being real. We actually know it's real. And there are three doorways into that unqualifiable ultimate, source of all that is. And so we can look at it from how do we enter this doorway in the third person, the third face of God. And remember, the God, as the God you don't believe in doesn't exist. So we all have images of God that maybe we inherited from our early caregivers, or maybe our church, or maybe we didn't have any image of God and we're kind of lost without any sense of what that means. But here we actually look at the three faces of God, the three doorways into the ultimate. And when we look into the third face of God, we look around us and we see the dazzling mystery, the interconnectedness of this intimate universe. We can be struck in awe when we look at a rainforest and the deep interconnectedness and the way that the trees communicate with each other through the mycelium underneath with the fungi, and all the trees actually in some ways protect each other and communicate with each other, right? And the interdependencies of the ecosystems that are somehow mysteriously in dynamic balance, right? We can look at the mysterious intelligence when we face quantum physics and the sort of mystery, the magic there, right? That grand intelligence. We can look at the stars and see how perfect and awe-inspiring this grand universe is. So we can look around us. We can look at the beautiful flower and see that intricate dance that it has with all the insects around it, right? And the sun and the chlorophyll molecule. We can also look at the people around us and see how our children are growing up. What is that? That is the force of Eros. That is the intimate universe in action, evolving through everything around us. And then we can go to the first person experience, the first face of God, where we close our eyes and look within and ask ourselves, who am I? Who am I? Who am I really? And we get quiet and we feel into the source of our feelings and the source of our sensations and the source of our thoughts, and realize that I am the universe in person. I am evolution having a unique experience. I am God uniquely seeing through these sets of eyes. I'm God having a David experience. You are God having a you experience. And so we go into this first person realization of the irreducibly unique expression of this eros, of this intimate universe that is moving through each of us. And we can enter in that doorway and experience that first person realization of the divine that lives in us. But we don't stop there. Here at One Mountain, we actually move to the second face of the ultimate, of God. We realize that the personhood that you and I experience together is actually a manifestation of the ultimate personhood that exists at all levels in the cosmos itself. And so we can turn toward that intimate, infinite God who is infinite and yet so close to us and so intimately connected to us, that is there waiting for us, appearing to us as we want to see her, him, it, as we actually can connect with that person, that presence. And that presence, that second person, that second face of the divine, that infinite, intimate, looks into our eyes and tears, saying, I love you madly. I need you. I want you. Tell me everything. I am here. I'm holding you in your fragility, in your vulnerability, in the limitations of your ability to make sense of reality, in your feelings of despair. I am here catching you. I'm catching your tears. So we can trust, we can lean into that second person face of the divine and know that we are loved infinitely. And we also hold Becca in that same experience. Becca, knowing that we can hold you, Becca, as this community is an expression of the infinite intelligence, the infinity of intimacy. And so we can turn toward God in the second person and ask for everything. So as we go into our prayer, our holy and broken hallelujah, we actually gather what it is we yearn for from the divine, what it is we pray for. We ask for everything. We ask for the greatest health and wellness and love of our own personal intimacies, but we expand to our community, our nation, our world, and beyond, to the cosmos itself. And so as we hear the music, let it open up our hearts and pour into the chat box all of our holy and broken hallelujahs. I pray for, and just let it roll.
There was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord.
And let these prayers just ripple out. For all of our prayers, we pray for all those who haven't been able to pray. So with that, and we know our prayers impact reality, right? We actually participate in the infinity of intimacy, in the infinite, intimate, in the intimate cosmos. So with that, how do we all participate? So all of us here at One Mountain are called here because our hearts are drawn to this new story, right? Our hearts are drawn to reweave the meaning that has been deconstructed and lost in the world that so desperately needs it. And so here, as you enter into One Mountain, of course, every week we can all come and join and receive the wisdom and commune with each other and pray as this weekly ritual connects us with the sacred. And we're also able to step in, right? We can step in further as a member. If you haven't, I think most of us that are here are members, but if you're not a member, this is the day to do it, right? Sign up. Go to www.onemountainmanypaths.org and be a member, become a member. Not only because it benefits you, right, to participate in the co-study groups and the outrageous love circles and all of the member benefits, but actually by stepping in and contributing your financial resources, you're able to power the revolution, power the great library, which is going to serve as this context for our diversity, the new story that the world is craving, right? Also, I want to announce that the Unique Self Institute, which is an institute that Dr. Mark Goffney and Claire Molinard co-founded together, and I stepped in to launch it with Claire. We're actually launching our first new cohort of the Unique Self Emergence process. So this is a year-long intensive training program for coaches, healers, therapists, and other people that work with clients who want to bring this new story, the story of who I am. Really, I'm a unique self participating in this evolutionary cosmos. So if you want to step in and become certified as a unique self coach, contact me, contact info@uniqueselfinstitute.com, and you can join our next cohort, which starts October 12th. There's an early bird discount until the end of this month. So if you're at all curious, if you're at all, feeling that draw to serve in that way, to participate in yours and other people's transformation, I urge you to connect with me, book a call. We can talk through it. I can help you discern, and we can decide whether this is right for you. If you're not in the position to coach or work with other people, but you want to participate in this transformative process that takes the entire Dharma of unique self and creates a practice-oriented, practice-first transformational program, you can certainly join us in a personal track. So not the certification track, but the personal track. Everyone's going to be joining in the group calls together. So you can really be in this intensive transformational container. So I really welcome you and invite you to join us. So again, contact me, or you can email info@uniqueselfinstitute.com. All right. So I think that's the announcements that we wanted to end with. And we will now go to our dance practice. And remember that when we dance, when we move the body, we're moving the arrows through us. So we're actually continuing our prayers. And so we're going to play We Are the People to remind us who we really are as we see each other as panelists. You can put everyone on gallery view and dance for the next few minutes and then say hi and see each other's beautiful faces. So take us inside. We are the people.